insanity for the first 3 days of your cycle with miserable cramps and bleeding like you're going to die. You know, this is not healthy. And progesterone is a natural muscle relaxant, so we wonder why they're cramping. Well, if their progesterone's high enough, they won't cramp.
Oh,
you know, so here's all these things. We have endometriosis, you know, and fibromyalgia. Sounds a lot like a progesterone deficiency, and they typically tend to be. But it's all the other things that go with it too that have to be strengthened. So a lot of you women out there are thinking, I'm just going to go get progesterone. That's a whole host of other problems you don't want.
Sure.
So one of the things I want women to understand is that here we have this massive regulatory system called the hormonal system. Every single hormone is measured on some of the tiniest particles. We'll take grams of protein a day. We'll eat grams.
Sure.
Well, 1,000th of a gram is a milligram. Well, we'll take milligrams of vitamins.
Right.
Okay. Well, a 1,000th of a milligram is a microgram. We'll take trace minerals in microgram amounts. Okay, that's a supplement.
Sure.
And vitamins sometimes in micrograms and milligram amounts. But then we'll take a microgram and we'll cut it into 1,000 pieces, which is a nanogram. Well, your body should have roughly 7 nanograms in a certain per deciliter, I believe they call it, of DHEA. It's one of the most prolific hormone precursors. So we have a lot of DHEA. And so if DHEA has, you know, nanograms, we split a nanogram into 1,000 parts and we get picograms. Very, very small substance stuff. Estrogen and progesterone are measured in picograms. So where estrogen in normal tissues will be, you know, 2-3 picograms, DHEA will be 7,000 or, you know, 7,000 picograms,
Wow.
or
Sure.
7 nanograms. Progesterone will be 20 to 30 times that estrogen. So if I have 3 in my tissues of estrogen, I need to have at least 90, you know, or somewhere around the 80 to 90 mark of progesterone. And so it's real easy to look at it in tissues and say, wow, you're way under progesterone. So they can be evaluated quite easy, and you can see them coming up, and the women will say, you know what, I feel a ton better.
Are you able to evaluate that? And
Absolutely.
so if somebody wants to go ahead and, because it sounds like it's pretty detailed. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a fine tune, very, very detail oriented. So how would they contact you?
So if they were to contact my office at 360-893-8586, wherever they are in the country, we would get information to them to get their history and all that, and then we would set up a consultation time and figure out what test makes sense, because there's many different tests you can do.
Sure.
And let's say I have a woman who's got a fairly dysregulated cycle, and so that particular test is an 11 sample test because I need it every couple days throughout her cycle. Whereas somebody who, say, is menopausal, and they don't cycle anymore, a 1 sample test is fine. So it just depends on the individual.
Sure.
If I have a perimenopausal and we're not sure, we're going to do an every 2-week cycle test. So there's different ways to evaluate it, and there's different hormones that we would look at.
So now, go ahead and what are some risks of taking contraceptives?
So it's a pretty broad list, and I mean, we're going to find all the emotional, mental stuff in there.
Sure.
We're going to find anxiety. We're going to find
anger,
emotional upset.
Notice that Bill says anger. Anger.
Which,
You must have had angry women in your life.
well, let's put it this way. When that period of time when I was married started, I would stop at the grocery store, pick up a pork chop, fly rod in the back, hook the chop on it, open the front door, leave the car running. And then
You
right
did
in,
not just say that.
and then just drag it back. Now, if there's just a bone on the end of that hook, I get back in the car and get the heck out of the driveway.
All right. Well, that, I wouldn't suggest our listeners do that.
No,
you
because
may
pork
want
chops
to
are
tune out for that
expensive.
last little bit.
Just a
Bill's
thought.
surefire way to know when he's in trouble. Okay.
Bill, we'll get to your hormones next week.
Oh, okay.
Or
good.
next
Yours.
month, yes.
Yeah,
Your hormones.
almost.
We'll talk about male hormones soon.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
So it makes sense if we're going to dysregulate a powerful regulatory system like hormones that we're going to have mental and emotional issues. I mean, that's just,
Wow.
they're going to go hand in hand. And we're going to find a lot of problems with that. The problem with stress is, though, it's creating a lot of deficiencies, because in our high stress environments, we're really tearing down our body quite quickly. And we need a much higher octane fuel in order to withstand that kind of punishment. So those that are in higher stress jobs that just can't get away from it, I have to treat them very differently than, let's say, somebody who's got an easy go and they love their job, those kinds of things. Or a teenager that we can finally realize that, you know what, my parents have stopped putting a lot of pressure on me, or I've stopped putting pressure on myself to succeed, with all my peers and blah, blah, blah. If they can be coached beyond that and say, you know what, it's going to be okay. You're going to be a success wherever you are.
Sure.
And really give them some internal direction, that becomes important. So those things are going to go hand in hand, but we're going to find fatigue on the backside of it. We're going to find sweet and carb cravings, because whenever we have high cortisol and we really mobilize blood sugar, we're going to have insulin coming in now next to try and crash blood sugar, because the cortisol under that stressful environment spike blood sugar on us. And so now we're going to dysregulate blood sugar, which is another stressful environment for the body. We don't even realize that we're causing stresses in different ways to it hormonally by dysregulating it. So these are the things that are in there. So sweet and carb cravings are going to be hand in hand.
So that opens up the door, though, for diabetes down the road.
Absolutely.
Obviously not in the interim.
Yep.
Which diabetes is on the rise. I mean, so many of our
it's
sicknesses,
the biggest.
They're all on the rise. But
very much so.
It's the very fast-moving rocket right now.
Well, we're just about out of time. Candace, you can have the last word, because we've set this as your moment.
Well, I don't want to just stop it there. So what I'd like to do is we're going to continue this on another podcast. So
absolutely,
there's I think this is just too valuable not to share and educate the world on.
True.
And I'll make sure I bring a lot of pork chops for the next session.
Well, I've yet to be angry, Mr. Lee.
That's what excites me to know.
We haven't gone tyrannical on you. But what I would like to do is ask our listeners, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, they can find us at
Your Disruptors, TORS, @gmail.com. That's Your Disruptors, think of Candace, at TORS, gmail.com.
Dr. Troy Munson, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. Can you leave us with your phone number or an email address?
I can. My phone number, once again, is 360-893-8586. And you can also reach me personally at Chiroman, CHIROMAN, @dr.com, like doctor.com.
Well, that sounds great. And it wraps us up for another interesting afternoon with Candace. And it's been a lot of fun. So thank you again, Doctor. And until we have you back in the house again, everybody keep on smiling.